Hey guys, welcome back to the Adjective Genius. This is our class about intensifiers and mitigators. Let's go! Alright everyone, as you can see on the screen, today we are talking about intensifiers and mitigators. And you might be wondering, what does that have anything to do with adjectives? And let me tell you, they have a lot to do with adjectives. Intensifiers and mitigators are very important words that help our adjectives. So let's take a look at them, starting with our intensifiers. Intensifiers, as you can see on the screen, add strength or force to the meaning of an adjective. So basically, they are the adjectives of the adjectives, right? So they give more power to whatever word you are saying. Here are some examples of intensifiers. Denise is really beautiful. The store was remarkably empty for midday. It's incredibly kind of you to help. Hippos are extremely dangerous. Dan and Mark drive very fast. As you can tell, guys, the intensifiers are adverbs of intensity that we use before the adjectives. There are many cases of intensifiers, and you can find a complete list on our booklet. However, there are some that are more popular than others, and here's a quick one. Very, completely, totally, quite, utterly, seriously, highly, really, extremely, amazingly, exceptionally, incredibly, remarkably, particularly, and enough. As you can tell, most of them end in "ly", and that's a very common ending for adverbs. However, not all of them end like that, as you can tell with very, quite, and enough, and they are very popular. Right? We use these intensifiers all the time, and I'm here to tell you that they are really, really good at their job. We also, guys, will see how to use these intensifiers on subjects we have just recently seen, like the comparatives and the superlatives. It changes just a little bit. Let's start with intensifiers for the comparative form, because they are not exactly the same intensifiers that you would use for any other, let's say, regular, average adjective. Okay? For the comparatives, we use the intensifiers much, far, a lot, quite, or quite a lot. So these intensifiers, they will intensify the idea that one thing is a lot more than another. We will not use other intensifiers, okay? Just these ones for the comparatives. Here are a couple of examples. Thaisi, that's me. Thaisi is much taller than Lucas. Now, Thaisi is much taller. I'm using here the intensifier for comparatives, much. And if I were to put an intensifier like incredibly, the sentence doesn't quite sound good. So imagine if I said, Thaisi is incredibly taller than Lucas. It sounds a little off. So we will prefer, okay, guys, to use the comparative intensifiers. Another example over here, my uncle is a lot taller than me. Right? So a lot here intensifying our comparative adjective taller. Okay, so remember, for comparatives, the intensifiers are much, far, a lot, and quite a lot. Moving on, guys, we also, of course, will talk about intensifiers in the superlative form. For the superlatives, the usual intensifiers are easily and by far. Here are some examples. Gabby is by far the best singer I know. By far means that not only is she the best singer, but that the second place to her is very, very distant, right? So that intensifies literally the superlative the best. You can say, teacher, superlative is already super. Yes, and we can intensify it. Over here, we got another example. Our project is easily the most specific one. Easily, again, saying that your project is the most specific is super. Your project is the number one. But easily intensifies that distance between the number one and the very distant number two. Okay? And that's why we can only use easily and by far to intensify superlatives. Now, on the other hand, we got our mitigators. The mitigators work almost like the opposite of intensifiers. Mitigators make the meaning of an adjective less strong. So what they do is they will diminish a little bit the meaning of that adjective, making it less strong than it was before. Some examples here. That book was fairly nice. The dinner was a little salty. Not salty, a little salty. Saturday was a pretty nice day. Not nice, pretty nice. The hotel breakfast was just a bit late. Not completely late, just a bit late. Right? So here are some popular mitigators, and you can find the full list, of course, in our booklet. But we got fairly, rather, quite, pretty, pretty as an adverb, not as an adjective, slightly, a little, a bit, and just a bit. Right? And of course, these mitigators, guys, they will help us give more meaning to our adjectives. And of course, one more time, we will talk about the mitigators in the form of comparatives and superlatives as well. Okay? So, moving right along, mitigators for comparatives and superlatives, we will use specifically a bit, rather, a little bit, slightly, and almost. You can use any of these mitigators with any of the previous adjectives we have already talked about. So the list in your booklet, you can use any of these mitigators for any of those adjectives if they are comparative and superlative. Okay? Here are some examples, and you can make your own examples at home. She is a bit shorter than her sister. Not a lot, not completely, not by much, just a bit. Manny is rather calmer than Homer. Not a lot calmer, rather calmer. Chocolate here is slightly more expensive. Right? So slightly more expensive, not really that much more expensive. This show is almost the most watched one in Brazil. It's not the most watched, but it's almost there. So here is a list of exercises for you to do following the video. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in our next class. Bye-bye!